So we've already talked about this a little bit already, but I want to talk to you about what happens when your building is finished and what does that look like. When can you start renting out your investment property? We get that question all the time. MaxPM, they've already started to market your property well in advance. And so even before you receive the CO and before it's rent ready, they already have it on numerous sites where they're starting to hopefully get the word out there that your unit's finished or almost finished so that they can start to get leases signed. I know that they do a great job and they're doing everything they can to get that leased up ASAP. So once you receive the C of O, Certificate of Occupancy, that means that you're almost finished. Most of the time it's not quite rent ready. There's a couple things that need to happen. There needs to be a punch list item, checklist that the builder's going to go through and take care of. That'll happen within about a 1 to 3 week period, and also a final cleaning. Once those things happen, then your building is officially rent ready. And so when your building's done or finished, it's ready to get leased up. And so that's where MaxPM, our preferred property management company, they'll come into play and they'll start to pre-lease or advertise your units for rent. Please note that they're not just waiting for that C of O, they're not waiting for the final cleaning for that to happen. They've already started to do this well in advance, months in advance, to get the traffic and the engagement that they need from potential renters for your investment property. So they're well ahead of the game so that they get that filled up as soon as possible. Their number one goal is to get it stabilized ASAP. I know a lot of our investors, that's what they want. They're looking for their investment property that they've worked so hard for and they've waited so long for to get filled and leased up so you can start to receive that cash flow coming back to you. So just know that that's already happening. Now, if we're being real here, you're going to have most likely 2, 3, or 4 units, if it's a fourplex, that MaxPM needs to get filled. And there's also several other units within that phase that are getting completed at the same time. And so it's going to be very unlikely that all 4 of your units in a fourplex are going to get leased up that first week, if we're being real here. And so you want to be patient with them as they're going through what we call the stabilization period. Typically, what I've seen and what we talk about is we tell investors to plan on about a 1 to 6 month period of stabilization. You want to have a little bit of a slush fund or some money set aside in case there's some extra vacancy during that first year of when it's completed or getting stabilized. However, the good news is in a lot of our projects, I've seen, especially recently with rents being in high demand in our floor plans and our product type, a lot of these units are getting filled and leased up in a short amount of time. That's the good news. It's always good to expect kind of worst case scenario or err on the safe side, and that's why we tell you to plan on about 1 to 6 months of vacancy or stabilization.